everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Lorena, the Reina Creole, and with me I have her of Positive Fandom and Dante of the Verbal Riot Show and Film Threat. How are you folks doing?
Great. Sort of.
Well, I'm glad all
Happy
you
happy
guys
to
are
be here
here.
though.
Oh, good, good. Happy to have you. Happy to have both of you guys here. I'm excited about this film. We are going to be doing a watch party and review of Foxy Brown from 1974, starring Pam Grier. This is one of those movies that, like, I saw it and it just changed my life forever.
Yeah, Pam Grier and this entire genre. I think that it was a very special time for cinema, certainly for Black cinema at this stage in the game. And I think that the idea, or even the exploration, the idea of her being on the cover of magazines, being the main star in a film at all, even that's hard nowadays. But can you imagine what an accomplishment this was at that time? It certainly was something to think about. And, I don't know whether we're going to see that time again, but the movies certainly have made a huge impression on cinema in general.
Yeah, I and we talked about this before, Lorena. I'm a huge Blaxploitation connoisseur, if you will. I love the genre. I grew up on it, and yeah, Pam Grier is just one of those legends, man. Like I remember with my dad, literally every mechanic shop, every shop we went to where there were men working, there
Hmm.
was a poster of Pam Grier on the wall. So she was an icon. I mean, she was you know even though I think it was pretty rare back then, she would have been like the Playboy centerfold every month kind of woman.
Yeah, she was just those large one of those larger than life icons, because I would watch like the reruns of the movies like on the weekends, and then happen to catch her in an episode of Miami Vice, and that blew my mind anyway, because at the time I was like, I want to be a homicide detective, and sure enough I
Right.
saw Pam Grier in that. So she's amazing. One of the best days of my Twitter life was when she followed me back on
Wow.
Twitter. I was like running around and like screaming because I was so excited, because she's not only a Blaxploitation icon but a film and television icon.
Yeah.
If you have not seen Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, that is literally a love letter to Pam Grier's character as Foxy Brown. So without further ado, folks, we are going to go ahead and click the play button. This is Foxy Brown from 1974, starring Pam Grier and I believe Antonio Vargas as well. So here we go. I guess they got to give us a disclaimer. Come on now.
You know what? It's true though. I mean, this is an era that I don't think we'll ever see again.
Oh, I agree. The ones where they're, smoking like it's nothing. Who did the music to this one? Was it oh shoot. I'll find out
That's a
pretty soon.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a good question. And the music was always on point too.
Always. Oh my gosh. We get to relive all that out there 70s fashion too. That's the other thing.
I feel like dance numbers at during the credits is kind of like a forgotten art.
Agreed.
Like we should see that more often. You know what I mean?
I'm like looking for the music box because this is driving me nuts.
What I love about this genre too is like the overarching, villain of all of these movies was the man.
Yes. Even to the point of, In Living Color, spoof that with the Homie the Clown skit.
Right?
He's like, "I'm gonna go to Shea Whitey and meet the man to go in his face." But it's like you even heard it in TV shows like Sanford and Son, The
Oh yeah.
Jeffersons, Good Times, that whole all of those.
But see, you know what? It was valid back then though, like because
Yeah.
the man was trying to keep us down back then.
Mhm.
It was
It was
it wouldn't make
real.
sense today, but
Oh my gosh, these land yacht cars.
yep,
I love him to death.
cast iron.
Mhm.
Can't break them. You just get a fender bender, and that was it.
Yeah, they were like literally like moving tanks.
Oh, yeah. When I was in college, I bought this 1984 Buick Regal from this old lady down the street. It was gorgeous. I cried when I had to let it go because that was just nothing but just a solid tank. I'd been rear-ended, T-bone. Nothing happened to
Yep,
my car. The other car, all jacked up.
and you had those bench seats, perfect for
Mhm.
making out.
Yeah,
I mean, they were literally like portable beds.
Yes.
for real. And
Try to do
there's
that shit in a Nissan.
mm, or a Prius.
Right.
Man, I've seen him in so much stuff.
Oh,
Antonio
that's Huggy.
Hart
That's
is
Huggy Beer.
hmm. Wow, payphone. Kids, this was before cell phones.
Yep. And it only costs a dime.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh,
She had the
that's
perfect
nice.
afro.
Yes.
Her afro was
Beautiful.
just ah.
They're like, we got stuff to do. Oh shoot, there's that music.
Yeah, that's the music that plays when shit's about to happen.
Yup. You got his brass knuckles
It's about to go down.
on top of the car. This is too. Hit hit the brakes. There you go.
You know what? I will be right back.
Oh, I remember this movie. It's so good. Oh man. Hmm.
It's a lot of money now.
Hmm. Well, this was before the state took over the lottery numbers.
Right. I also feel like loan sharking was a bigger business back then than it is now.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was like nothing to know exactly who the loan shark was.
Right? And you understood if you didn't pay, your legs got broken.
Exactly. You knew they were going to take it out somehow.
Right. Some will call that a predatory loan.
I think there was an episode of Good Times where JJ got in trouble with a loan shark. I
You're
think, or
right.
was it, or was it, or what's happening?
No, no, it was good
It was
times.
Good
It was
Times.
JJ. Yeah.
There was nowhere else to get a loan. There was nowhere.
It
None.
really wasn't.
It's not like they had the payday loan place open. It was either the loan shark or the pawn shop.
Right, right. Jeez.
God, I love that this ain't PC.
Yeah, you can't say this shit now.
Mm-mm. We're like, can't do that. It's not inclusive. Mm. Mom running it?
I know, right? With her mom vest and everything. Oh, that's a
That
dress.
is some 70s hair right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
These people.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the job.
Yep. It's good to be the boss.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that the flowers match her shirt. That had to be on purpose.
Wait, what? Oh, wait.
I guess that's one way you can do rehab, right?
I'm like, uh,
Physical therapy. I don't know.
right up in the hospital?
You don't use it, you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
He think it's the nurse. Wow.
Mm.
They didn't change that.
Where'd he get plastic surgery?
I guess so.
Or recovering from burns? I don't know, something. And is this when the nurse walks in?
Yep.
Told you.
She about to pray.
I love how matter of fact she is. Like, this isn't the first time I've run into something like this. So you just gonna have to wait outside.
That's gonna arouse him even more now. The sponge bath is
Oh
gonna make him
Lord.
all
Now she
wrinkles.
humming a hymn.
Yes. Oh my gosh. New passport, driver's license, social security card.
I know.
Your driver's license didn't have your photo on it back then.
No, it didn't.
Oh wow. Forgot about that. Hmm.
Drinking a 40 ounce. That's what he's doing.
Man, how high are them ooh,
I'm
them
telling
shoes
you,
is high.
those platforms, man.
Whew.
You had to have swag back then to wear those.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, nah.
Oh my.
I like that angle shot.
Nice.
There you
Nice.
go. Give a little help. Everybody in the corner, like, hmm.
Not in my stand. Not in my stand. You've been ruining my stand for.
Dang. Take his shoes while you.
I know, right? I guess they're not cops.
Mm-mm. Hmm. Mm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they tried to make these films today, they wouldn't even make it through.
No.
They would be canceled like that.
I'd be like, we can't have that. What? You're handling drug dealers on your own?
I
Mm.
mean, just all of it though, man. Like the language, the
Yeah, there's no way.
yeah.
Baby, baby, baby.
Hmm.
She's like, don't come back for like 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We
be
got some things
busy.
to do.
Yeah. I'm like, I know that dude. Hmm.
Yep, there we go. Couldn't get it done in the hospital, so
I had to make up for it here.
oh boy.
Okay. What is that, a 22?
I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hmm. You think about all the partying you're gonna be doing while she gone.
Yep.
I'll be nosy some more. Hmm. Hmm. Don't be sampling the stash.
I know, right?
Looks like the her necklace looks like the bird from Clash of the Titans.
Right?
Well, the owl.
Yeah.
70s always seem to have that larger than life jewelry going on.
I know, right?
I had a teacher that had like an elephant necklace. I think she got it from India. It was freaking huge.
The men do too.
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord, yes. Mm-hmm. Can't say that today.
Tarantino's learning that right now.
That car is hot though.
It is.
Yeah, I love it.
It is. Although with today's gas prices, it'll kill you. But
Yeah, that's true. That's the
because
when you just
those
haul
things were
out
guzzlers, man.
for car shows.
See, now she got to kill her own brother, man,
Dang.
because he snitched.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Hmm. Oh, he did. Wait for the gunshot. With the parking meter that said time expired. Dang.
And he just got that new face.
Mm-hmm.
Are they cooking?
Yes, they are cooking.
They are literally cooking heroin.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Man, I haven't seen that in a movie in a
I know,
long
right? I'm like, wait a
time.
minute. They got the scales.
Woo. Everything. She might kick the door down. Woo. Mm. Mhm. Yeah, Imma take that
I'm
too.
teasing too. I love it. I love it.
She is like, I will never mess with a black dude again, ever.
Mm-mm. Do not wanna deal with his crazy sister. But shoot, I've seen female relatives do stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I've seen my aunts cut people.
Mhm.
Don't play with fire.
Mm-mm. Oh, so the model agency is the front. Okay.
I know, right?
That yellow outfit is amazing.
I know, right?
uh she's like, "Oh, you one of them. Okay." Hmm. Hmm. Okay, and the red one too.
I know. I'm like,
All
Yep.
every
right.
look, man. Every look
Dang.
he
Who
has.
The
did the
hair, the clothes, everything.
costuming for this?
Mhm.
Okay, that's cosplay right there. I'm calling it. Well,
Wow.
can't get more specific than that.
I know, right? She got it down to a science.
Mm-hmm. Dang. She's like,
He's
hey.
taking heat.
She's like, what are you looking at?
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Look at him. He ready to risk it all.
mm-hmm. Yep.
He's like, damn.
That's what my fantasy shoot. Like, hey.
Steve is like Bill Clinton at a cheerleader tryout.
Mm.
I'll be right back.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
Complicated.
Very.
It sounds crazy.
Now I'm just watching my dad get his ass kicked.
I know, right? Hey, I'm not gonna lie though. I kind of like Steve's robe.
Oh yeah, it is hot.
Like I think I could rock that.
Truly a pimp look for sure. Hmm. Especially after what she just popped.
I know, right? That's why they called them party drugs back then.
Mm-hmm.
Got the corn on,
Right,
Yeah,
right?
with the
He ready to
old school
go.
real.
the big chunks of ice with those glasses.
Wow.
Right out there with it.
These cats are partying, man. Yeah, you can't make a movie like this no more.
No.
Mm-mm. No.
There's no way. Boy, the woke crowd would shut this down fast, man.
Oh, yes, indeedy. We can't have that misogyny. Look at all this white supremacy going on.
I know, right? You got these old white dudes with like these young black women.
Mm.
They would burn that theater down. Wow. I feel like she should have like sexier underwear than that being a
I
call
Yeah.
girl,
know.
right?
It's
I
kind
don't know. In the 70s, that might have been kind of sexy
yeah,
underwear.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it wasn't,
Yeah, you're right.
it's like, it wasn't like the Victoria's Secret era.
You know what? That's a good
No.
point. That's a really good point.
But they did have sheer panties back then.
That
Yeah.
yes, they did. Which is weird because like all the women had bushes back. Well, I'm sorry, we're getting way too graphic for.
No, it's okay. Well, we can see that she has a bush.
Yeah,
It's
I
okay.
mean, it's right there. You
Like
would have to be blind not to have seen that.
Yes.
I'm saying way too many words.
No, you know something? That's a perfectly normal word.
It was the 70s. They,
It was the '70s, right? I
yeah,
mean,
there was no such thing as, non
Brazilians.
maintenance. Yeah, Brazilians, none of that.
I mean, waxing wasn't even a thing back then, right? Like there was no such thing as waxing, or was there?
No,
Not in the US, no.
no,
In some other countries, they like had it, but it's not popular in the US at
no.
this
I think Nair came around in like what, the 80s?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, or very very late '70s.
Yeah, I really want to know who did her costume.
Good, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's insane. wow. Oh, no.
Ooh, well,
Church group.
That's he might as well have been nude walking out like that at that
mhm.
time. With an erection, I'm sure, which he has.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh shoot, she coming at him with the umbrella. Oh, nope.
She has a man and a kid, and she out here.
Yeah, she out here doing this. Something tells me she's not.
Yeah. I mean, but Victoria's Secret's been around for like a while, right? Like 40 years, something like that, 50 years.
Yeah, it's been that long at least. Yeah.
Because it really started to blow up, and I want to say like the 80s, early 80s, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And even then, I wouldn't say blow up. It was just kind of like, it was like a specialty store. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was kind of like there,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like, the Sears or the J.C. Penney.
Yeah. It's like now it's like in every mall, right? But back then it was
Hmm.
like a very special store. You almost had to drive out of your way to get to.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm like, is that Bryan Cranston?
You know what? You may
He
be
kind of looks like
right.
a young
His
Bryan
face is
Cranston, right?
driving me nuts. I'll have to look that up because I've been looking at that like, what the?
I'm like,
Looks
I mean, if it is,
too
I'm gonna lose it.
familiar.
I mean, it can't be. It can't be. He's not that old. Is he?
I'm gonna find out. No, it's not him. It's someone named Peter Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
She had a lesbian bar?
Yep.
I'm like, wait a minute.
We'll be looking for it. It's kind of like Police Academy,
Right?
where they go and they hide in the gay bar, the Blue Oyster.
The Blue Oyster Club.
Have to move out the way.
You know what? I remember this actress too. She was in like in a bunch. She was in those women in prison movies back in the 70s.
Oh, the women in
I
cell
love
blocking.
those. Oh, I watch those all the time. I love the women in prison movies.
I mean, this is wild shit for like back then. I mean, to
Yeah.
put on screen. And notice they would only do it in a black movie, right?
Yeah,
Like you
not the
wouldn't see this in a
mainstream stuff.
mainstream Hollywood movie.
Go find one of your own.
I ain't got time for this. I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
Right?
Mm.
Brawl at the lesbian bar.
Gonna be a lot of hair hair flinging and
Right?
hair pulling and
Hmm.
Lot of bar stools.
Yeah.
A lot of bar stools. Yep.
Give you some more of this.
Jeez.
Wow.
whew.
I did not remember the fight in the lesbian bar.
I think they went through like 7 bar stools.
Keep going. Here we go.
Yep. The chase music.
Keep making a mistake because she can't defend herself. It's up my.
That's her actual name.
I like that. Really? Mm-hmm. Her own brother. Got that right. That all you got?
Nice.
Is that what the other lady was talking about? They're displaced down in Haiti.
Yep. Man, she looking as rough as I was last week.
Oh, man. That's some kind of unsafe handling of gasoline, isn't
I know, right?
it? You got to be kidding me.
Nah, really? It's a little too on the nose.
Yeah. But this is the 70s, so they went there.
Oh, 70s were wild, man.
Ugh.
Wow.
Damn.
Yep, cannot
Mm.
make this movie today.
No. Hell no.
There is no way.
Ah. Oh, so you're gonna get it and make it even cheaper.
So he's going to get it the worst.
Mm-hmm.
They literally left a razor by the bed.
Yeah. They're probably too busy trying to shoot her up with heroin not to think to leave something like that close.
They've been having their way with her, so that's all they care about at this point.
Mm-hmm. And they're not even gonna think about that razor until they have to until they have to cut that heroin. Okay, girl, don't get caught like last time.
I know.
Hmm. Yeah, I could not siphon gas like that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
disgusting.
it's so gross.
I don't even know how they do that. I
Now you got to set them on fire. There you go.
terrible time for a commercial.
I know,
Yeah,
right? They're not paying attention. They're just like, yeah, just stick the commercial in there.
Yeah, these kind of movies are like they're for a certain time. They can never be done
Mhm.
again.
No, not at
No
all.
studio would ever.
I mean, back then, it's like nobody really cared about that type of movie. It was only a certain audience that was making it.
Exactly, because it
They
was
wanted to
made
see it.
basically for black people. So
So they would go there because it's just like, yeah,
yeah.
audience will understand.
Actually, though, I heard Warner Brothers actually financially backed a lot of these movies.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
not like directly, but
Oh, like
like the way Disney
venture
does.
capital.
They're
Okay.
yeah.
Please, he wanted to sleep with her like
I
day
know.
one.
Mhm. Like, I was trying to hit the
Oh, is that her brother?
yeah,
Yeah,
he been waiting for that.
what is she gonna do with him? Lord.
Mhm.
Before fentanyl.
Yeah.
Back when you didn't have to worry about immediately dying doing coke.
Mm-mm. At least she had a little bit of lead time.
Yeah.
Don't answer the door, bro. Come
No,
on.
yeah, who you expecting for real? Drug dealers ain't knocking. Hey. Damn. He's so mad he can't even hold the gun straight.
I know.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, he wouldn't get up after that. That was like a direct shotgun blow to the body.
I mean, he's floundering, man, like a fish.
Mhm. Cooking it right up there in the kitchen.
With the headbands and the patches.
Mhm. I'm just looking for the Afro pick with the fist on it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got a point. And they'll keep doing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Okay. And the black man with the firearm in the back, you know they not gonna like that now.
I know, right?
That's the same outfit that Beyonce had on in, Austin Powers.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Gold member?
You are right. When she played Foxy Cleopatra.
Mhm. Yep.
I think the '70s just had style, man. I feel like we're lacking that now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have swag to wear this shit because
If not, it would wear
otherwise,
you.
yeah.
Hmm.
Airplane driver.
I guess he can't say pilot. Ooh, and these patterns. Oh my gosh.
Crazy, right?
Woo. You think? Y'all suck with these commercial
I
placements.
know, always at the craziest time, man. Like, a lot of polyester back in those days.
Oh God, yeah.
God, I'm thinking about like my dad's old like closet, man. Just tons of polyester.
Okay, so that's why they're flying in because they have to check, the checkpoints.
Mm-hmm.
The police can stop them, but they're not looking for a plane. Smuggler's blues. There you go.
Fuzzy little wow.
Yes. Hmm. Now who this?
Right off the bat.
Dang. But we're gonna bring you some. How you doing? 2A all over the place.
Now it's sir.
Is she
But
no. Taking off in the plane. Wow. You might wanna
Wow.
oh, yeah, oh. Who didn't see that coming?
Y'all just gonna stand there and watch.
Yeah, instead of getting out the way. This blood is so fake, and I
I know,
love it.
right?
I love it.
Oh, she's in leather now.
That's that nice outfit. You about to kick somebody ass. They got it all
Right.
black leather. Hmm. Well, would you still love me if I didn't have a pair?
I'm sure her answer will be no. She really gonna give it to her?
Yeah. Dude, oh, I freaking love this. Did they think she came by herself?
Come on now. He had a little extra grab there.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh
I
gosh.
don't think it's Fickles.
I mean, it's pickled. It's
True,
not a pickle.
but it's not the vegetable you think it
It's
is.
not dill.
Mm-mm.
She recognized it immediately.
Pulled a gun out her afro.
Yep.
Mm,
Wow.
that's what I'm talking about.
She got a gun.
She's like, really, bitch?
Not well thought out.
No. Mhm.
I mean, Steve's still there. I mean, not all, but
Not all. He's mm, I don't think you gonna want Steve like that no more.
You know, I just don't think as a society we're tough enough for these movies anymore.
No.
This is what my parents would say, you know, meant for grown folks. You know what I mean?
Mhm. 100%.
It's not for the weak.
No.
No. No.
And it's true that she was doing a lot of things that there just weren't very many other women doing this on screen with what she was doing in her
Oh
films.
no.
And Pam Grier is obviously still alive, and she does talk sometimes about her experience doing these films and how unique it was, and how they pretty much had to do everything themselves. You know, there was no stunt doubles or crew or
Mhm.
anything like that. And you know, she talks about how uh, just even the idea of these films, the concept of it was groundbreaking because there weren't a lot of men making films like this.
Right.
The idea that she was doing it as a woman was just audacious. And, you know, and she's a beautiful woman, so, like, she has these beautiful nude scenes. Even when it's, like, a rough nude scene, she looks hot.
I know.
So, there's, like, that incredible attraction about her, but she's actually a pretty good actress. You know, these parts where she's, you know, has this thing where she has to make somebody suffer, but a lot of the themes are where she has to kind of, like, make these wrong things right, and it's not so hard to kind of be on her side with a lot of this. So it is a very interesting concept that they created for her. And you know, you, Lorena, you and I, we want these outfits. I want these wigs. I want
I want it all.
yes,
Jewelry,
I
shoes,
yes. I
hat.
mean, this
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, as a man, I would love to see you guys in those. Because they were on point.
hmm
And
hmm
they were sexy. That's something that is sorely lacking in Hollywood of late. You
Yeah.
wanted to see women in sexy outfits,
Yeah.
and you looked forward to seeing that, and it just sticks out even more. This film, even with such a limited budget, still all that costuming was on point.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
and the I'm
you kind of
sorry.
hit it when you said, you know, it is it's weird. It's like we're living in a time where, you know, women can't be sexy and men can't be men. You know what I mean? Like it cuts both ways, right? Like as a man, you can't be too manly, right? You can't do masculine things. Whereas a woman, you know, you can't be, you know, attractive for the male gaze, right? You can't be
Mhm.
sexy because it's for us, not for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the performances of these actors is also very good, you know. And I know we were kind of joking, you know. I know Antonio Fargas, of course, is Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch,
Yeah.
and we, you know, and we've seen him kind of in parody. He parodies himself, I think, in "I'm Gonna Get You,
Oh
Sucker,"
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
where
One of the best scenes in the movie.
Yes.
and it's really interesting because he, you know, has to play this character that has to be this kind of, you know, at least in this particular film where he's kind of doing this wrong stuff and he's just living his life. This is all this other stuff that's happening is very inconsequential to him because this character is just focused on himself. So he's not a redeemable character. And so, you know, he's just that person
Mhm.
that, and no, you know, the world is not made up of perfect people. So it couldn't be a perfect film if he was going to say, "Yeah, I'm going to change my life," and it just wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
And I think that they knew that he had to be somebody who was irredeemable and was just going to keep doing what he was doing. And she knows in this case, her brother. That's how he was, and she just accepted that. I mean, she's involved with somebody who's an undercover, I guess a narcotics officer
Yeah.
for all practical
Mhm.
purposes. Was very interesting that she is experiencing the problem so close to home. And I also kind of thought it was interesting that they're holding her captive, and they're these guys are kind of like essentially taking advantage of her, not just injecting her with drugs, but taking advantage of her. And we know these things kind of did happen, but for them to put it in film where we're actually seeing that happen, it was very bold and very, like, I'm sure very shocking at the time to see
Mhm.
a woman getting drugged like this, and then of course molested, because they
Right.
didn't show you. They zoom in, the guy's face is like super close, but essentially he's sexually assaulting her. And
Mhm.
and she's gone through hell, in addition to losing this man that she loves. She clearly loved that guy. And so but she did it in an intelligent way. She went undercover. She had a plan,
Mhm.
Right.
and she's like, "Go undercover. I'm gonna fool them all." And she does. And it's very clever. It's very witty. It's kind of like, it does feel like something that, a person who knows how to do operations would do. It's like, the best way to get in is we have to go undercover, disguise. Okay. So what do we need? Okay. We need this, and this. I mean, it kind of really feels like she planned that out like a mastermind. So that also kind of grabs you, because you're like, well, how is she going to do this? Oh, okay. She shows up at the modeling agency like a James Bond or something,
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
and she's like, "Yes, I'm here for the modeling job." And it's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "I know exactly what you do in this place, and I want to make money." And I'm like, "This is great." It's adventure. She's a scorned woman. She doesn't get necessarily out of it scot free. It's a lot in this film that was made on what, like a budget of maybe $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
Mhm.
easily. No,
Oh.
it says a lot, man, and I think that's the biggest thing is that she did a lot with the little. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think all those actors had to back then. Like they had to do a lot with a little bit, and that's why, these movies were always set like in neighborhoods, because it was just cheaper to film that way. But at the same time, I think, it's funny because we live in this weird time now where there's all this faux feminism, right? And what she
Mhm.
was doing back then was like real feminist shit. I mean, she was, the star of her own action movie. I mean, she was doing things that were a lot of white actresses weren't doing.
Yes. Yeah, there wasn't they none of them were doing that. And it's interesting that they even had a porn clip in this film,
Right?
and it does feel
Mhm.
old school 70s, because at the time, like, obviously you both know, porn was like the breakthrough thing at that
Oh
time
yeah.
with deep throat. And so, people were like, "Oh, it's disgusting." No one wanted to talk about it, although people wanted to see what it was about. So there was this taboo association with it. So now she has it in her film. She goes to a party and someone's playing it, and it's like, they practically, it would be like, I don't know, using every drug on the planet at the same time, you know, uh going bungee jumping, jumping out of a plane, every single offbeat, crazy thing you can imagine doing at once. That was what was happening in the film,
Yeah.
Mhm.
more or less, for a 1970s audience. So this was like, incredibly, incredibly stimulating, incredibly arousing, incredibly shocking.
Yeah.
And then Pam Grier gets to be the star. This is really just unbelievable work, and it hasn't really been matched since then.
No, well, it just can't be anymore. I mean, like I said, today's society, we're too fragile, man. Like they would never let this movie happen.
No,
Never let this movie happen.
they wouldn't, especially with some of the terms being thrown
Oh,
around, and I think what a
yeah.
lot of people don't realize is back in that period of time, that's what happened.
Yeah.
People called you, white people would call you, certain white people would call you the N-word, they call you
Yeah.
all that. People were calling everybody everything else under the sun, and it's just like, "Yeah, okay, well, whatever, whatever," and it's
Right.
just like You stopping my money, you threatening me, one of them. Words aren't gonna, aren't gonna bother me. But like you said, people these days are too sensitive. And one of the things that I like about these blaxploitation movies is they capture time in a bottle
Yeah.
where there was real issues going on, real serious police things like police
But
brutality
they did,
going on.
but they did that in a way too, where again, and I think me and you talked about it before, Lorena, when again, for me as a kid back in the '70s, like those people on screen were like bigger than life, right? Like Foxy Brown was a superhero, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And Superfly, even though he was a pimp, was a superhero to
Mhm.
us, you know what I mean? And even the gangs in those movies were like protectors of the neighborhood, right? They weren't like, Crips and the Bloods, shooting each other. They were like, they had their bats and their chains and their brass knuckles, and they protected the neighborhood against the evil forces of the man
Mhm.
and the cops, right? Because the
Right.
cops are always against us, So yeah, it's grounded in reality, but it did have like this, kind of like fantastic element to it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, it's grounded, but they were like superheroes to us back then, and they were fighting crime and doing all this other crazy shit.
Mhm.
I agree.
Like the likes of Shaft.
Yes.
Fight Shaft was like number excuse me, was like number 1 before I even like saw the movie. I guess my dad like had the soundtrack or something like that.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know the movie, but I knew the music. That was like the craziest thing,
yeah.
ever. And then when I finally saw it, I'm like, oh, no wonder people like this movie so much. Why is such a pop culture icon that Shaft became, yeah, because of that. But you're right; these people were larger than life superheroes to us, which is why these films are so even like today. There's still callbacks back to these black exploitation movies.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
classic. I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was to me one of the best parody movies.
Oh god,
Was
yeah.
I'm gonna yeah. No, it's one of those things too where I honestly, even if they could, I wouldn't want them to try to make these movies anymore because they would just screw it up. Like
True.
they would soften it. It'd be completely whitewashed. For lack of a better word, it'd be it just won't be the same, and it can't be. It just can't be the same because we're a different society now. You know,
Yeah, I mean, you're right about them not being able to recreate it. It's kind of like what they were doing with Barbarella, which is a
which
sexploitation
I
film.
love. I love that movie so much.
And their intention is to remove the pretty much the sex and the exploitation from it. They're
Oh,
removing both, so it's not a film
but what's
anymore.
the point? What's the point? Like that was. Uh,
I mean, the closest thing I really seen to something like this would be Titan, which was a film that came out a few years ago, and it kind of
Mhm.
pushed the boundaries a little bit. If you can imagine something pushing boundaries today, it did, and it was kind of fun to see that film can do that. But what sets Pam Grier in particular apart from this is how many films she made,
yeah,
and how what a catalog of
Mhm.
work she has,
yeah,
not just at 1970, but it continued on to the 80s and I think even into the 90s, where she kept making appearances
yeah.
and was able to maintain that nostalgic feel that she had. So that was also something that you don't always see with a lot of actors from that period.
I mean, if you think about Jackie Brown, I mean, she really acted her ass off, man.
Mhm.
Like that
Yeah.
was like props to Tarantino for putting that together because like it had all the feels of black exploitation, but her acting was just like next level in that movie.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I think that she distinguishes herself from a lot of these other actors because of that accomplishment. And, I think that as far as I'm concerned, her career can't be matched because of the time spans that she's gone over, but
Mhm.
also the intensity of her films. And sometimes having a film with intensity in it like this, helps to keep it going even when you're watching it in a different decade like we are, watching it so many decades ago, we might say, okay, well, that was okay and the fighting was okay, but the nature of the intensity of what's happening to her, you can't just brush that off.
Right.
Because even if somebody kidnapped anybody now and did what they did to her in these scenes, it would be equally as disturbing, today as it was at that time.
Right.
So it is very interesting that, when you look at kind of the basics of the film, some of those elements are always going to be disturbing no matter what.
Right.
Hmm. True. So true. So true. Do you know this film? I just looked it up. It was made on a budget of $500,000 and it grossed almost 2.5 million
Wow.
Yes.
at the box office.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable what they were able to do. I also think it does kind of demonstrate that there is some talent in this ensemble, or at least in the idea of these films. And it might actually be a little bit of exploitation of talent in the sense that the actors themselves, I don't know whether they were ever compensated. Like how were they paid? What happened?
Right.
And so maybe part of the one of these elements is that they didn't get paid as much as they could have gotten paid, which does happen in the industry. It's pretty, it does happen. But I think a lot of the actors here have talent. Certainly, Pam has talent, and Antonio has talent. He's fun to watch in Starsky and Hutch as he's kind of strolling down the street and
Hmm.
he's talking. They come to him for advice, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you need, man? What's going on?" And it's just like very fun. It's so much fun to watch him. So I think that there is a lot of raw talent in these actors, and they were able to, kind of take that and use it in the film. And you can see that they kind of shine, when they're on the screen. So there is that too.
And I mean, and also you have to remember too, back in those times, I mean, black folks, as far as Hollywood goes, I mean, there was only certain roles that they would give us, right? It was either a slave or a drug dealer or a pimp or, someone just completely broke, right? Like we
Right.
didn't have a lot of options. So
Right.
um I respect what Antonio did, man, because he was like, you know what? If this is, what they're going to feed me, if this is, all I'm going to get, then I'm just going to milk it. I'm going to be the best, pimp in every movie that I'm in because, this is how I'm going to eat, and I I respect the fact that those actors had to just take the role, man, and it's weird because we went through a period where, and I was kind of pissed about this. Like we went through this period, I think it was like maybe a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, where black actors from that time were getting clowned for the roles that they would take. And I'm just like, by these,
Hmm.
younger kids today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys don't even know, if you wanted to work, if you wanted to be an actor back in those days, unfortunately, you had little options. These were your choices. It's either that or get a factory job, right? So they took what they took what they had to take and they did the best with what they had. And some of them just made that a career, the way Antonio did.
Hmm.
Now
Yeah, I
they weren't all
agree.
as lucky as Pam. Pam was able to kind of pick and choose, but I mean that was rare back then.
Yeah, it was rare for any actor, honestly. She got a lot of roles. Everybody knows who she is in the industry. She's famous, so she's still famous to this day, and I think she was very lucky, but also very talented
Yeah,
Hmm.
actress as well.
Yeah, she really was. But like you were saying, Dante, a lot of these young actors don't realize how different Hollywood is now.
oh
There
yeah,
was a point in time where they're just like, why do we want to cast black actors in our films? Or if we do, then, they'll make, like you're saying, like the pimp or the drug dealer or, the maid or the sidekick or like the help. Like one of my favorite movies, Caddyshack.
great
Black guy
movie.
they have in there, what is he doing? He's shining shoes. But
Yeah,
that was what you would see, the roles there. And it was not an easy business to break into. So once you did, you know what? Hey, you milked that for everything that you could possibly get.
yeah. You take it and run, and if we're being really honest, I mean that lasted up till like maybe the early 2000s. Like it's not like oh that happened back in the 70s, and then after that, black actors got every role they wanted. It's like no, even up to like the early 2000s. Like had to take the roles that they were given. You know, there was a time in the early 90s when, you know, there was nothing but in the hood movies, right? And it
Mhm.
was like, you know, and I remember a time when I forgot what year it was, but I remember I was watching I was home, I was kind of babysitting my younger brother, and I was watching BET, which I never did. Because I just wasn't a fan. But I remember it was a Saturday and there was like 5 movies that came on that day, all starring Morris Chestnut. And I'm like, I'm like, so you're telling me
Dang.
like there's no other black actors in Hollywood than Morris Chestnut right now, right? Again, slim pickings, and a lot of these young, you know, these young actors and actresses don't realize how hard it was back then and how easy they have it now.
Yeah.
They have it so much easier now because everybody wants diversity, right? It's all about inclusion. So
And Denzel might have been one of the few, maybe there's about 5 or 6. Denzel was one who seemed to get roles
yeah,
that no one else could seem to get.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, there was maybe about a handful of people you could count
And
who,
Freeman, guys like that. Yeah,
yeah. And by that time, although he wasn't old, but he was older.
Mhm.
And then he started to kind of, you know, they allowed it. Halle Berry also kind of had her breakout
True.
period during that time.
Mhm.
And that was kind of publicized as a big deal. But even after it happened, nothing really had changed as much.
right,
Um, so she, you know, she wins the award, but then it was like, okay, great. And then, you know, nothing happened after that, which, you know, I can't even say that that meant things were going to happen, but it didn't. It was an accomplishment, but it didn't change very
right.
much. The types of roles that were written for Black actors or
Mhm.
going forward. So, so maybe it really was only till 2015. Was it 2015?
That's about right.
No,
When
you're
you
about
had
right. I
shows
mean, it.
proactively using, Black actors in more varied roles. I would just agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a it's you know for the ones who had to really write it out back in the day, man. It's like you always got to give them their flowers because you know, believe me, as bad as they had it even in 2000, say 8, they had it way worse in 78. You know,
Ooh.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, it really was. And you know, I think Pam Grier talks about how I think and this is also kind of very interesting. So the films were being made, they were in the movie theaters, you know, and made money,
Mhm.
but she didn't have the things that other actresses would have had when you become a star.
right,
For example, she didn't have, you know, I don't think she appeared on television the same way that other actresses did. She wasn't on the covers of a whole bunch of magazines, as she mentioned,
right.
that was the norm.
She
You
wasn't on the
wouldn't you
Johnny
would
Carson show and all these other things that like Goldie Hawn would be back then. You
Mhm.
know,
Go on that particular
and
circuit. You didn't see her, like, on the cover of People magazine. You
right?
see her on Ebony and Jet,
Ebony
but
and
you
Jet.
wouldn't see her on the other ones, though.
Stephanie J Essence, you know,
Yes, in
that's
Essence
Essence,
too.
yes.
so there was that. But it is interesting to talk about her because I think that you know, I think if there was if we could imagine a world where something as unique as this could exist, we would have to be on a different planet, more or less. It feels like a lot of the imagination has gone. There's, you know,
Mm,
no one wants to go that extra step and take a chance in film when it's supposed a lot of times it's creativity is because someone took a chance on this. And
right.
I'm sure there were a lot of people who were like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you really want to make this film? And then once the bankroll of that one, as you mentioned, Lorraine, came through, they said, yeah, maybe we ought to make a few more. These are pretty cheap to make.
Mhm.
And if we can keep the costs down, we can justify to the studio that it's worthwhile making this. And I think that's might be, I'm not quite sure if that's the case, but I think that might be how and why they were able to continue the momentum with it.
Well, and also we have to remember, like these movies were like there was no VCRs back then, so you had to go to the theater to watch them,
Mhm.
and they were released in very limited theaters, very limited, right? So the fact that it made that much money is insane because it couldn't have been in that many theaters, and it just showed that people just kept going back to watch it, and people who weren't black were watching it. You know,
Absolutely.
Mhm. That's another thing, that I think people don't realize. These blaxploitation movies, it wasn't that it was only just black people watching it.
right,
All kinds of people were watching it because they got to see something that they weren't seeing
right,
in Hollywood at that period of time. So it was a type of, a type of style that they were like, this is refreshing.
yeah,
It's different from what we see in Hollywood. So it wasn't like this pigeonhole, type of thing where it's like, no, it's only for black people. No, 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 no. It was our stories being told for everybody to consume. That's the
right,
difference.
And around this time, if I could think of anything that would be as different, let's say if we're thinking about women taking a leading role, would have been Angie Dickinson on television as policewoman in the 1970s when she first got that role. It was a big deal. Like,
right,
this woman is going to be a police officer.
Mhm.
Why on earth would a woman be a police officer? Well, Angie Dickinson played that role, and she's kind of known for this role, but it was in the 70s, around the time that Pam Grier starred in these films. So it certainly was, I think, as you were talking about feminism, this really was an interesting period for feminism on film and in television.
and
Mhm.
it is weird, I guess, as a man saying this. For me, it just felt like more honest feminism back then. You know, like I feel like what they call feminism now is it's a joke. Like to me, and I could be speaking as a man. I don't know, but it feels like
No, 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 no. You're not wrong. I tell people it's third wave feminism.
yeah,
It's in the beginning, feminism was respect of a woman's choice, whether a woman decided to go out in the workforce or decided to take roles that were traditionally for men, like say become a police officer, or if a woman decided to stay home and raise their children. It was respect that particular choice.
yeah,
Women wanted to be seen as just as competent as men. Now you have this third wave feminism, which basically says that you have to demonize men in order in order to lift up women.
right,
And that's the difference now. It's like they make men like they're the how do we say this? They're responsible for all the ills in the world and all of that, and it should be all about female empowerment when that was nothing like what the original feminism push was about. And I want to say even not Gloria Steinem, Camille Paglia, who was one of like the pioneering feminists, pretty much like, I don't know who you chicks are these days.
right,
It's just like, I don't think you understand. This is nonsense with this type of feminism that you have
yeah,
coming out right now. And I've had to argue with a bunch of feminists who were just like, well, you don't understand. I said, yes, I do understand. Feminism at the beginning was about empowering women to be able to have that choice and be treated the same as men if they were as competent as men. Now, y'all just want to yell and scream and yell patriarchy. That's not feminism.
yeah,
Yeah, it's become very warped and meaningless, honestly.
yeah. And you know what? I mean, if we're gonna be completely real though and completely honest, man, I feel the same way most of the time when I hear people cry racism. It's like because then I have to really second guess. I'm like, okay, is this actual racism or are you just yelling a buzzword now? You know what I mean? Like I just can't accept that, it's racism. Like I need to really know because people use that word so much that it's lost a lot of meaning. And we just saw a movie where they're calling black people spooks, right? It's
That's
like
real.
I mean,
Jigaboo, I heard jigaboo
right, you know
in
what I
one.
mean? It's like all kind of crazy words and it's like and that, there was real ass racism back then. And it's like
Yeah.
so when I hear it now I'm just like, is it though? You know what I mean? Like I have to second guess it because I you know what pisses me off about it the most? I think this is what it is you look at a film like this, right? And you look at like what like we are just talking about what black actors have to go through, how hard things work for black folks back then. We see that,
Mhm.
right? I don't see black folks having a hard time right now. Like I don't see young black kids, having a hard ass time the way, say, even I did, growing
Mhm.
up in the 80s, in the hood, during the crack era, during like the Bloods and Crips era. It's like when, literally every night bullets are flying through our house. Like even, I don't even see kids going through that anymore, right? So when I hear them cry about this kind of shit, it just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't, it rubs me the wrong way.
Well, yeah, there was I think Lorena, you and I were on a panel and we were talking about um, gamers. And there was a young girl, I think she was probably about 12, who had said that the boys were being sexist against her. And I can't remember why she thought it was sexism, but in her mind, someone had told her, "Well, the reason why they're kind of pointing out that you're a girl is because they're sexist." And I'm like, you and I were like, "No, it's because you're a girl and they probably want to date you. That's why they're kind of like pointing out." But it's this misdirected, and I think that something that I comment about with especially film like this with like Foxy Brown or any of the films that we used to see where we see people corresponding with one another in a realistic manner. For example, the man who is dating the woman who's exploiting everybody is checking out Pam Grier, and that's a normal behavior. There's nothing abnormal
At
about it. He's
all.
not being sexist.
Mm-mm.
He's a beautiful woman. However, this is now suddenly interpreted as being evil, as being vile, as sexist. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. There are even women who are going from, and I'm sure you guys saw this, who are going to the gym
Yes.
in overly provocative clothing, and when men are looking at them, which they're going to, I mean, I'm looking at these women,
Mhm.
so men are going to be looking at them, and they're so disgusted that they're men are looking at you. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you're at a gym and there's going to be guys there and you're not wearing a lot of clothing. What do you think was going to happen? But the disconnect of not understanding that, or going there with the intentions to attract attention, and then when it comes your way, you
Mhm.
pretend like you don't understand why this is happening, is, I think, very
Disingenuous.
um and it has a sense of malice to it.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
has a sense of, because you know that something's going to occur, but you don't want that occurrence to occur, but you're desirous of
But
it.
see, I think
You know,
they want it to occur because they go there and they purposely place their phones with their cameras on, angled right at where a guy would look. No, they go there with this purpose. That's why all
yeah,
of that, all the gym creep thing, is all BS. It's all BS. People are always going to look. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
if you're sitting at a machine where your legs are opening and closing constantly, somebody's going to look.
People are
yeah.
gonna
I'm looking at that. I'm
people
looking
are
at
gonna look. It's like I had told one guy at the gym, I'm just like, "Okay, I'm not mad that you look, but help a sister out. Can you rack my weights or something?" I
Right,
mean,
right.
I think it is very interesting that the sense of reality of things like this. For example, that was another, and I know Avatar 2 was not everybody's favorite film, but something I noticed in Avatar is
mhm,
that when the families came together, I guess there's a point where the families come together, and the young kids in the family are noticing one another. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God, something realistic. Of course, they're going to notice each other. The boys and girls are going to be looking at each other. Let's just be honest about this. This is natural. This is what happens. It's natural. So don't make it sound like this is so demeaning and disgusting. And
mhm,
no, this is what happens with human nature. People are going to look, and that's, the just really natural. We need to see that more often in film so that kids can understand this is normal, like it's going to be okay. People are going to notice you and it's fine. It's normal. And so I
mhm.
think it's good. I mean, I know that in the circumstances that we saw, it was like they were prostituting these women out.
Right.
I get that. But even the notion that, one thing that I think is really good in this situation was that I've said this before, is for in Wakanda, where I didn't like how Shuri, who's supposed to be a princess, she's supposed to be a princess,
Mhm.
a beautiful princess, and Namor doesn't kind of like he invites her to his house or kidnaps her or whatever you want to call it, because she's drinking wine with him and kind of hanging out. And I was like, well, you know he must at some point find this woman attractive because he's kind of invited her into her home. And even if it's under false pretenses, he's given her jewelry, he gave
Mhm.
her clothes to wear. And the next natural step would be, oh, he's going to kiss her. Like, this
Right.
is, I know where this is going. And so, at least in this film, you had Black women shown as being desirable. And it was just a natural thing. It wasn't like shocking, that anybody would want to be with these women. But I think that now what we're seeing is a lot of situations where not, maybe it's not just Black women, but women in general are not being shown in a desirable manner.
No, not at all. I think there's this weird shaming even of women who
Mhm.
want to look sexy, right? And it's what's really weird to me because fuck, I'm just gonna get real. What pisses me off about all of this is women get shamed for looking sexy, right? Or trying to look sexy,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. But yet, I guarantee you, whatever sexy outfit that woman is wearing and getting shamed for, I guarantee you, if a trans woman was wearing that same outfit, it would be nothing but claps and Yas Queen and all this other bullshit because it's not a biological woman wearing this stuff, right? Like we're living in this weird time, man, where like women are getting shamed for, wanting to be attractive and wanting a guy to look, right? Like they're making it seem like it's wrong for a man to want to look at a woman sexually, right? And that's the weird thing to me. And it's
Mhm.
coming across even on film now, right? Like even the movies we watch where there would be some sexual tension, there's none
Mhm.
of that. I can't remember the last movie I watched where there was like sexual tension. And like you're right, Neymar in any other situation, right? I guarantee you, if that was Sue Richards, right, Neymar would have like made a play for her, right?
Mhm.
I don't understand why, especially in Wakanda Forever. Like I said, number one, there was a lack of masculinity in that film. There was a
Oh
huge lack of
God, yeah.
male presence, right? But secondly, none of the women were really giving off femininity, except for maybe Lapita. But none of the other women were really giving off that. And it's like, so let's make the women overly masculine and let's take the male presence completely out of the film. Like, it's a weird thing to me that this is becoming like normal.
Yeah, and another example in that same film was Riri Williams, where she's in college, and I don't know about you guys, but I remember my college days, and there was a lot of dating going on in the college days. But she seemed almost like she was completely devoid of any male presence, except for when she wanted to sell somebody intellectual property, which is what she was doing, or homework.
Right.
Which in at the college stage, you're not really doing. It's not really something you'd be doing, I don't think. Not a girl who's as intelligent as her. I think that she would probably be dating guys. Let's just be honest about it. She'd be dating guys in college. She's at a school that's, I think they have a different ratio of men to women right there. She'd be dating a bunch of guys. Let's just be realistic about it. And it's nice that she's studying. I'm saying that's fine, but there would be boys who would be like, so you want to go out, you want to, like, that's what the reality would be for a girl like her who's talented, who's attractive. That's what would be going on, not like where she's got this thing. And it's just like, it was weird. I mean, did you know anybody who was selling homework in college? Like,
No.
No, it would have been like, "Why are you dating so and so?" Well, you know what? I need to get through fluid mechanics, and he knows what he's doing. So
I
I
will
gotta
I
go.
will say that I do like there is that one show by Mindy Kaling, The Sex Lives of College Girls, right? I actually do like that show because I feel like that's almost at least as close as we're going to get to kind of a realistic look at how young people would be in college right now,
Mhm.
and of course they would be hornballs, and and
yes,
not just the guys, the women, the girls,
yes.
everyone's a hornball in college, and they actually show that, which is kind of refreshing because, like I said, in most things I watch, there is none of that.
Yeah, and certainly we do see a lot of sexuality in this film, and like I said, of Black women, and I do like that they're shown as being desirable. I do like seeing that stuff because that is normal. That's what would normally happen. It's what happens today. So let's just be honest about these attractions that people have, and opposed to just pretending like it does not exist. You know, it's a fantasy world. We know it exists and it's not going away. So um that's something that I'm hoping will slowly ease itself back into cinema and television.
Well, people keep
Mhm.
saying like at some point we're going to course correct, right? I don't know when that day is coming because the way things are right now, I don't really see that happening for a long time. I think we're going to stay on this woke track for probably the next couple of years. But it would be nice to finally get back to like, you know, normal like sexual tension, normal attraction between people in
Mhm.
film, like it was just nice to kind of get back to that kind of normal shit, you know?
It
Yes.
would be, and I think the films that do that, those are the ones that are gonna start to get the attention, like the ones that start doing a lot of money at the box office. Why? Because you're seeing those things. You're
Right.
seeing normal relationships between, between men and women. You're seeing feminine women. You're seeing, masculine men. Again, I'll bring it up again. Indian cinema, there's
Yep.
very clear who's masculine, who's feminine, good-looking women, good-looking men. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the biggest, complaints that I heard about Shang-Chi and the 10 bracelets, they were just like, "The main actor, he's not even attractive." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right?" I I'm like, I don't get this trope of casting people who really aren't that attractive at all, and that's
You know what?
not.
He's neutral enough that that's why they casted him. Because
Yeah,
he's neutral,
he's,
you
like, in
know?
the middle, he's not overtly, you know, overtly gorgeous, he's not like a Jet Li, he's not like a Daniel Day Kim, he's not
Right.
like that, he's kind of like, he's kind of he's passable, but I'm thinking the more movies that get into the theaters that are back to what people wanna watch, it's the reason why people are watching foreign cinema because 'cause they're just like, "Our movies used to have this kind of stuff." But I agree with you. I think it's gonna be another couple of years before things start to course correct, and I think one of the things that will help course correct is when people go back and see films like this, and it's just like, we used to make some killer,
Yeah.
films like this. And to get back to what you were saying, about racism, too many people throw that around. That is so serious a charge that people will just off the cuff say, well, oh, it's racism or whatever. I'm like, no, racism is basically you getting called the N word by the cops. Like, that's really your name.
Right.
And, your neighborhood cops aren't doing anything about your neighborhood because you're like, why? We don't care about those people. We shouldn't even have to, be down there. Real stuff that happened
Yeah.
back then when there were real problems and real racism that people had to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think if it is gonna come back, it's gonna be a slow drip. I think it's gonna be, word of mouth kinda stuff that starts happening. I
Mhm.
To be honest with you, I don't even know outside of, like, the big movies like Avatar, like, I don't know how these movies are really doing in the box office right now. Like, I think there's a lack of people going, to the theater, these days, and it is not just because of, like, the pandemic stuff. I just think people are there's no point. Like, to be honest with you, there is no movie right now that I'm excited about going to the theater to watch. Like, I'm going with Chris, to watch Ant-Man next week, and I'm going because I want to go hang out and drink and have a good time, but I'm not that excited about seeing the movie itself, right?
So
So,
so hanging out with people is more of the motivation to go out.
right, and I'm just saying, the movies themselves are not bringing people to the theater anymore, and I think
No,
people are just bored. They're just tired of what the latest trend is.
yeah, because I know for Ant-Man, I'm not real all that excited about it. I'm just like, movie theaters near my house. I'll get my loyalty points. Okay. Wake me up when John Wick Part 4, comes out, and I'll go, and I'll go and see that in the Super Mario Brother movie. But yeah, but you're right. It's just like people the theater, it's not really a demand for it anymore unless the movie is really good, unless it's like, say, Top Gun,
Yeah,
Top Gun Maverick, where
exactly.
people, they're just like, shut up and take my money. I just want to go. But
And even if you look at a movie like that, like Top Gun, there wasn't like all this overtly sexual stuff, right? But it was just
mhm.
a good time in the theater. It was just a fun, you know,
Yeah.
artsy movie, and it did well because it was genuine, it was honest, and it
Mhm.
gave people what they wanted, and if you're a studio, how do you not look at that and say, okay, we're doing something wrong, let's fix that? But I don't think these execs are that smart. So it's probably not going to happen for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
I'm sorry,
Oh, no,
Lorraine.
no, go ahead, my dear.
Let's just pray that something similar where we have the sort of, I'm not going to call it a foreign invasion, but let's just say more attention towards foreign films that are exploring those themes make their way here to the United States and we can enjoy them.
Oh, and that's what's going to happen. I think the foreign market is going to start determining, what Hollywood does now. Because I think something like RRR that just came out of nowhere, and just blew up. Like I think if they don't see those numbers and think about what they're doing, then they don't deserve their jobs. you know?
Yeah, I hear you. I think what it's gonna come down to is the proof being in the money, where you see audiences who are ignoring films that are not worth their time to go see, and plunking the money down at films where they're just like, we're there and we have a great time with a great film that we just enjoy and we're not being preached to. Or if we are, guess what, they're kind of tricking us into it. It's not overt banging us over the head.
Right.
That sort of thing. But tell you, looking at movies like this, man, it's just it's a gem in a bottle.
It really
Absolutely.
is. And what's really cool about it is there is just a bunch of these, right? Like there's just so many that you could watch and be taken aback by, I mean, you look at a movie like Sugar Hill, right? That was
Hmm.
that was a hood horror film, I mean, but it was amazing. Even though it was made by Warner Brothers, I mean, even The Wiz was pretty, you could almost count it as Blaxploitation, Um,
Yeah, I love that
Oh,
movie.
The
That
Wiz is one of my favorite films. I
I love.
I make no apologies for loving The Wiz. I can't even count how many times I've seen it. But again, it was just something about the filmmaking at that time, that was just so honest and entertaining, right? I think if Hollywood just focused on those two things, right?
Mhm.
Honesty and entertaining, I think they would be fine. But again, they're not that smart.
I agree. I agree. Well, as we wrap up, folks, any last thoughts about this film, Foxy Brown, 1974, starring Pam Grier and Antonio Fargas?
You can go ahead. I can go after.
I just was gonna say it is kind of there is kind of a little element of a guilty pleasure watching this film for me, and I think it hasn't changed over the past. I don't know. It's probably been about 30 years since I first saw the film. So I think that when you can kind of capture that element in a film too, the sexiness of a film, it's really important that remains preserved in the appeal of this film because she is an attractive, sexy woman, and I do like to see that coupled with everything else that she has to offer. So, it was always enjoyable to watch this film, and I am really grateful for you asking me to be here tonight, Lorena.
Well, you are more than welcome. More than welcome. Dante?
Yeah, it's in my collection. I love these movies, and I will always have a passion for them. I think Pam Grier is one of our legends, and I don't even know if she's really gotten the flowers she deserves yet.
Hmm.
Like, has she ever even won an award? Like, I don't know.
I don't. No, let me check. Let me
I
see.
don't
Let me see.
I don't think she
I could have
has,
swore she won something for Foxy Brown.
because if she hasn't,
Not Foxy Brown, excuse me, Jackie Brown.
know. Uh-huh.
that
Uh-huh.
that sounds kind of right, but I'm not sure. I don't, or at least she was nominated or something.
Yeah. Let's
But
see.
yeah, I just think, she's one of our legends, and I think that she deserves just all the praise, and even the fact that she's still working today, says a lot about her talent, and I'm glad she was able to, keep her name out there over the decades,
Hmm.
because a lot of actresses can't do that, no matter what race they are. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I mean, Pam Grier, again, she was just one of those icons that were just larger than life. And just to see her as a leading role, as a black woman in a leading role, it just really changed me. It really did, just to see her on screen, her as a true feminist heroine. She could, even in Foxy Brown, you could tell she did not think of it beneath her to ask men for help,
Right.
especially the ones who were protecting the neighborhood. So I absolutely love these films. She was about protecting herself, protecting her people. Her pulling that gun out of that fro,
Oh, classic scene.
classic. Bitch, I don't want you to die. I want you to suffer.
Yeah.
Woo! Absolutely love that line. This is one where I do not have no. Yes, I do. I do have it on physical media, but it's still got the shrink wrap on. It's still got the shrink wrap on it. But this is one of those films. What I absolutely I love it. I love it. It's time in a bottle,
Yeah.
and Pam is just amazing in it. If you have not seen it, well, one, it is not for the faint of heart, but I will tell you, you will be entertained throughout this whole thing if it's any indication for how we've been reacting to it. So as we close out, do you guys want to go around and shout out your channels? We'll start with her of Positive Fandom. Tell the people who you are and where they can find you.
Yes, guys, I'm from Positive Fandom. You can find me on my channel, Positive Fandom, but you can also find me here streaming with Lorena quite frequently these days. We have a Toxic Male Appreciation show as well as a Lady with a PBS show, which we both enjoy doing tremendously. But you can also find me on the Burn Network for my Midnight Musing show, which I'm doing literally right after this one, live with Robert Meyer Burnett, as well as on the 1/6 Scale Man Network. So please do check it out. Right now, I'm doing live streams of literally live streams of Hogwarts Legacy, which is a wonderful game that I've been enjoying, but also other things as well. I have another show called PGS Moving Image, where we look at the IPs that are out there and the legacy of cinematic and TV IPs. So please do check it out and subscribe to Positive Fandom. And it was had a wonderful night with both of you here and everybody who is watching along.
All right,
Yeah, and
Dante.
for me, guys, Verbal Riot Show is the name of my show on YouTube. I come with a warning label, so if you're easily offended, you might not enjoy it. But if you like real talk, I'm definitely good for that. I call myself the rebel voice of movies, gaming, and mainstream media. And yeah, you can also find me on Film Threat a few times a month. I'm supposed to be on the show, I think, next week to talk about Ant-Man. But Film Threat with Chris Gore and Alan Ing, they have an amazing show. If you guys aren't watching them, you're missing out. And but yeah, Verbal Riot Show is my YouTube handle, and you know, come at your own risk.
Oh, but it's still a great time. Still a great time. Dante's got some great stuff on his channel.
Thank
Has
you
some
so much. I try
amazing
to be
stuff on her
entertaining.
channel. You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. And of course, you can find me on Twitter causing all kinds of mischief. It's not a day if I haven't made somebody cry on on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. And of course, you can find me on YouTube for various live streams from pop culture to anime to gaming, a whole bunch of stuff. Videos with just myself sometimes. And of course, you'll see me with for other various live streams, especially ladies at the PJS over on the Admiral Network, Toxic Male Appreciation, of course, on my channel and other watch parties. So, folks, thank you so much for watching. Be sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to my amazing panelists here, and we will see you next time. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.